like us to sit down?
Yes, please. Thank you.
Can I also ask this?
Actually, we're going to leave it like that. We can maybe.
Hello.
Are you serious?
Check.
Is that me?
Check.
I'm like, okay. No, it was a nice Sorry, my bad. I'll figure it out. Oh, yeah, okay, got it. Sorry, my bad. Where are we? Numbers.
All right. Can everybody hear me all right in the back? Wow, we got a crowded room this evening. Shout out to you guys. Woohoo! Thank you so much. Seriously, this just makes my heart swell. So thank you so much for doing that, because earlier I was a bit disheartened when I heard some news. But thank you for making this evening just that much brighter. I really appreciate you being here. We're going to just say good evening and welcome. My name is Shelley Roars. You are here at the Widefield District 3 School Board Election Candidate Forum, where along with our co-sponsors, we have gathered your candidates to answer basically your questions. Hopefully all of you are registered voters, I assume. But either way, thank you for being here. Again, my name is Shelley. I am the spokesperson for the League of Women Voters of the Pikes Peak Region and your host this evening. So welcome again, and let's get to it. Your moderators, hi. I know, it's awesome. Seriously, a young voter right there. Your moderators this evening are Mike Williams, Citizens Project down there at the very end, and Mr. Keaton Morris, is a senior, right? From Widefield High School. So I know, right? Shout out. Seriously. That's awesome. All right, and of course you have your candidates in front of you. Running for Widefield District 3 School Board. You will be voting for 2, I believe, in this election. Mr. David Boyd, who is unable to attend, I understand he is out of the country this evening. Kelly, and I forgot to get enunciations. Is it Kuchar? Kuchar. Oh, yes. Thank you, Kelly Kuchar. Then Alvin Sexton, also running. Mark Walker, we apologize for the handwritten placard. Again, we are all volunteers. It got lost in transport. So again, nothing jaded. Please don't think anything into it. And Tina West, also unable to attend this evening. So as a league member, we have in front of you candidates your timekeeper, Miss Kelly Perry, in the front row. Please keep an eye on her when she holds up that stop sign. You have about 5 seconds to wrap up your thoughts, or we will wrap you up. I know, it's awesome. We love this job. Question takers, league members, Denny and Terry have been collecting your questions. If you have any questions, please continue to turn those in. We do sort questions for duplicity and relevancy. Oh, I'm sorry, Liz Rosenbaum in the back. My bad, Liz. I forgot to write you in. Thank you, Liz. So all 3 of those, if you have any questions, they're going to bring them up to us, and we will sort them as league members and hand them over to your moderators. Shout out to your voter service team. So if you're a civics geek like we are, again, I say that lovingly because we really enjoy what we do, become a member. We are a member organization. And our voter service team, this is one of their things. This is voter education. We consider this one of our key things that we do. But a shout out for monitoring our YouTube. Again, we are live this evening. And audio video needs is Dave Gardner with Studio 809 Podcast. So thank you, Dave. Shout out to you. Also one of our co-sponsors. And included in that list of co-sponsors, we got the Black and Latino Leadership Coalition, Citizens Project, Colorado Latinos Vote. They're also over there. They got an awesome table, so make sure you check out their good stuff. Colorado Latinos Vote, KRCC, Colorado Springs NAACP, I already mentioned Studio 809, and Together Colorado Faith Table. We would not be able to do things like this without co-sponsors. So if any of you are here this evening, I would like to, if you're, raise your hand, nobody? I know I got Mike up here. He's going to say like 30 seconds about Citizens Project in just about in a few minutes. But again, our sponsors they are all aligned with what we do as the league. So thank you again for that. Elected officials with us this evening. I believe we have 3 school board members with us. Donna Walsh, her term is up. Say, hey, Donna, where are you? There we go. Her term is up in 2025.
In 2025. They didn't hear the 2025.
I'm sorry. Her term is up in 2025. Got you. So Neil, sorry, my bad. You didn't hear that part. I did say it, I promise. Neil Nelson, his term is up. Say, hey, Neil, where are you? And then Mr. Carlos Gonzalez, there we go. His term is also up this year. So thank you to all of you. Is there anybody that I missed that's running for office that is not a candidate? Did I miss anybody in the room? No? Just want to give you a shout. Oh, my bad. Yes, ma'am. Brenda Delgado running for District 4 Commissioner. Is that what I heard, Ms. Delgado? Thank you so much for being here this evening. Oh, yes, sir.
Sorry, I'm running for House District 15.
Your name? Jeff Livingston, also here running for House District 15. Yes, so thank you for attending this evening. Let me tell you a little bit about the league and why we announced those candidates at first. We are nonpartisan, number one. We do not support or endorse candidates. So we are glad that you're here, but we will never endorse or support you. We won't oppose you either. Now, there is a little caveat to that. We do support or oppose issues. We do research on certain things that are important to the league, and then we do take a stance or ask you to vote either way. But it's very rare that we don't do that, that we do that. But that's kind of us. Again, I mentioned that we're a membership organization. We are not just for women, even though it is in our title. I've tried to change it to League of Voters, but that's been along since 1920, so that's fighting an uphill battle. So, but Denny and Dave and my husband Dan, they're all members, Citizens Project members, right? So please become a member if you are like us. Right? Again, it's not for everybody. I know. It's okay, though. Oh, student membership is free, by the way. If you're a student and you're like us, free membership. So join, please. LWVPPR YouTube channels. This is also on our website, lwvppr.org. Also our podcast. Dave is great at making whatever we do into a podcast. So if you're driving to work one day and you want to listen to something new, Making Democracy Work is our podcast. So there's some great stuff there. Vote411.org. Candidates, this is mostly a little bit for you, but also for the voters. You will be getting a candidate survey. You know what those look like. I'm sure you've gotten a few already. Simple, basic questions about you as a person and why you're running. But this is something that the candidates answer. The league doesn't get these off their website. They come from candidates. So number one, I encourage you, please answer the leagues and Citizens Project and any of our co-sponsors. If they send you a survey, please fill them out. And then voters, go there. Terry's got some information about vote411.org. It's live when you get your ballots, so you can go and get answers to your questions there. Again, ballots are dropped October 16th, so you'll be getting those right around then. Tonight's forum, it is a forum, not a debate. We do not go back and forth between candidates. It is not a good thing, right? So tonight is a forum. Your moderators will ask you questions. They have a few questions of their own, and of course, you have turned in a lot of questions. So we will try to get to as many of those. They have 2 minutes for introductions. Again, watch the stop sign. 30 seconds to 1 minute to answer your questions. They are in the hot seat this evening. Moderators, be sure and announce at the beginning of each of your questions the time allotted so your timekeeper and your candidates know. Audience members, here we go. Here's your rules for this evening. No shouting out during the forum. No applauding, right? When we applauded for all those other people, you got to wait. All that has to wait until the very, very end. We're going to get 20 questions in, hopefully, this evening. So please know, I need you to save your applause until the end. Silence those phones for me. Restrooms are out the door and to your right. You already know about the questions. Let's get to it. Moderators, go ahead, and if you wouldn't mind, Keaton, introducing yourself first, and then Mike, you're next.
Hi, my name is Keaton Morrison, and I'm a senior at Widefield High School. Oh, I'm pretty excited to be here. I think this is pretty fun, getting to be in your community and stuff. Just kind of being involved and getting to know what things are happening, you know. So if like a house gets built down the road from you, you know, it was going to be there in the first place and things like that. And to make sure, you know, my education is pretty strong, and I think that's important.
You can give him a round of applause after that, right? Good evening. My name is Mike Williams. I'm the Executive Director of Citizens Project. We've been here in the Pikes Peak region since 1992. Not older than me, contrary to how I look, right? Definitely excited to be able to co-host these with the league or co-sponsor these with the League of Women Voters. We're a nonpartisan organization. We're a nonprofit similarly to the league. We do voter education, voter registration, and we did an event recently, a voting party essentially, beats and ballots. I had about 1,500 people come through the day, and the whole point of that is just to get more people to use their power, and that is their voices in voting. So definitely look out for the events that the league and us do. Thank you all. So we are going to start with candidate introductions alphabetically. Since Mr. Boyd and Mr. West are missing, we will start with Ms. Kutcher and work our way down, and keep an eye out for our timekeeper. So 2 minutes, we'll start with candidate introductions.
Are we ready? Oh, excellent. Hi, everybody. My name is Kelly Kutcher. Many of you refer to me as Feeney, and that's fine as well. That's the name I went by for many years. I've just got to tell you something really quickly. I was getting in my car to come here today, and a young girl was riding her bike. She said, "Where are you going?" And I said, "I'm going to a candidates forum." And she looked up and she said, "What's a can of nuts forum?" And I said, "Well, I don't know what a can of nuts is, but I think I'm involved in it." Anyway, I had the honor of working and serving for 28 years as a teacher here in Widefield. Amazing, amazing, amazing children. Also, I was the department chair for the social studies department at Mesa Ridge. I was an avid teacher where I garnered over $2 million for 2 different avid classes. I was chosen by the Denver Broncos as the Teacher of the Year in 2021. And I educated both of my children in the district because I knew the value that we brought to them, and one of those children is special needs. So I'm pretty familiar with the entire spectrum of what the district has to offer. Excellent, I have 30 seconds. So, as we're learning how to be candidates and to talk about some of the exceptional things that are going on in this district and how I might be able to enhance that, I can't wait for this thing to get going. I was going to say party started, but I don't think party is appropriate at this moment. Okay, here we go.
Hey everybody, my name is Alvin Sexton. I'm running for 2 reasons. The first reason is for teachers. When I was younger, if you were to ask my teachers which kids were set up for failure and which kids were set up for success, no teacher would put me for success, mainly because of my background. My mother was a drug addict. I live in a trailer park. I had a speech impediment. I just wasn't understanding a lot of topics, and my attitude was terrible. I was getting into fights. But it was because of teachers who took the time to ask what's happening to you, not what's wrong with you. That changed my life. And it's because of that I went on to get my associates, my bachelor's, and then to grad school. And I've been watching some of the drama going on around the state of Colorado and Colorado Springs, that people are attacking teachers. They think that they know best. They want to make their life harder than it is. They want to dismantle public education, and I'm not for that. I support teachers. The second reason is for my son. He's right there in the front row, little baby Nolan, and others like him. I was holding him one night when he was very, very young, and I was thinking, what would I do if I was a parent and my son was being attacked by school board members because they didn't agree with him? And my answer was, I would fight like hell. I would make sure those candidates don't get elected. That's why I decided to run. And at the time, the two candidates that were running, I didn't feel that they shared my values. But after getting to know these two up here, Brian and Kelly, just a little bit and talking to people, I really feel that if 2 out of 3 of us get elected, this district is going to be in great hands. And I just want to finish off with, there are 3 things that I want to do if elected. The first is I want to continue what I started last year in expanding our trade programs and partnering them with internships across Colorado Springs. The second is we need money, plain and simple, but we can't raise taxes. So what I want to do is use my grant writing skills to bring in excess money to fund the district. And third, I just want to be a sensible voice on the board so you all can have confidence in me. Thank you.
First of all, I'd like to say thank you to all of you for coming tonight. I am Mark Walker. I have been in this district I taught in this district for 24 years as a social studies teacher and an administrator, college and career counselor. I've done a little bit of everything within this district. I was a head wrestling coach forever. I coached other sports within this district. I truly believe this is an incredible place for all of us. It always has been. I have 2 children. Both of my children were educated in Widefield. One graduated from Mesa Ridge, one currently goes to Widefield. So I know, and I mean, if you want to talk about it, the elementary schools that they attended, they both went to different elementary schools. They both went to different junior highs in the district. They went to 2 different high schools because we have excellent schools and we need to keep it that way. I'm really running for the school board because I want to give back to the community. I want to give back to the people who gave to me. You guys all supported me. This community has supported everything I've ever wanted to do. At Widefield High School, when I was at Mesa Ridge High School, when I was at Janitel, the community supported me, and I think it's important to give back to your community. My focus is kind of threefold of what I'd really like to do. Number one, I'm really into, I want to continue our good work that we're doing with literacy, and especially within K through 6, really important to me. Really important for career pathways in the high schools. I'm huge on that, and I've been huge on that for about 10 years. And I also want to make sure that our students and teachers have a safe place and they know that they're welcome at our schools. And I think that's really important. Thank you.
Thank you to all 3 candidates. Just a reminder, when you are answering a question, make sure that you stand while answering it so that everybody in the back can see you. Sorry we didn't mention that at the beginning. All right, for our first question, 30 seconds. Why are you doing this, and what is your main priority while in the seat of power? And Alvin Sexton will go first. 30 seconds.
Yes, so I am doing this because I want to do 3 things as a community. I want to expand our trade programs. I want to bring excess money to the district. And finally, like I said before, I want to be a sensible voice. School boards meetings should not be a place of culture wars. It should not be a place where we yell and fight. It should be a place where we discuss ideas and make improvements for our children. Thank you.
Then Mark Walker.
Well, I kind of explained it of what my main goals were, but of course there's other goals that we're looking at. Of course, we want to expand some things within the district that we do well, and we want to look at all of the programs that we have. And I can tell you that I think why I want to do this, I truly want to help this district, and I want to be that leader that helps all of the teachers, all of the students, the community members, and we can listen to what they have to say and kind of get what they have to do. Thank you.
And now Ms. Kuchar.
Excellent, because teachers can't really think sitting down. So why do I want to do this? I think that I've always wanted to do this since the first day I was in the classroom. I'm going to be in the school board someday. But the truth is, if I'm speaking to you from the heart, the pandemic was brutal, brutal. And I just came out of the classroom, so I've seen what's happening, and I want to be there for you and your children. Thank you.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute, and we'll start off with Mr. Walker, Ms. Kuchar, and then Mr. Sexton. What experiences do you bring to the position that will create trust that you could establish educational, financial, and evaluative goals for the Widefield community?
Well, I was in the district and a teacher for 24 years. Within that, my experiences, I was the athletic director at Mesa Ridge High School. I was in charge of a budget, had to be responsible for that money and know how to spend it and where to spend it and how we can be fiscal responsible of what do we really need, what can we live with, and that. And I think it is truly a needs kind of thing. Second part of that question?
What I'll restate it. What experiences do you bring to the position that could create trust that you could establish educational, financial, and evaluative goals?
I was also a teacher. I was a dean of students, college and career counselor, but also the fact within that, like Mrs. Kuchar, I was an avid teacher, worked with curriculum forever, so I've done all of those things within the district, worked on social studies, CAT teams, all of those things. And so I have the experience of I've done it, I know how it works, and thank you.
Establishing trust is going to be big. And I'm here to help reestablish and continue to build on creating trust between the community, which is you, our administration, our teachers, and everybody involved. So how can we do that? We can't move forward until we build community. We've put together professional learning teams. The C stands for Professional Learning Communities, and we must implement the trust in that community. That's where we're going currently.
Sure. So in my day job, I've been a mechanic for the past 9 years, but I moved up to the management position. And being a manager, you have to be very good with money. You can't spend what you don't have. With being in the trade industry, it's allowed me to make a lot of connections in Colorado Springs. And last year, what I did was I organized a big field trip from Widefield and Mesa Ridge High School to Alpine GMC to get that program started up. And finally, with my master's degree, it's prepared me to lead in all levels of government, especially grant writing and any kind of government management. Thank you.
Great, thank you. The next question is, how will you specifically support LGBTQ plus IA students and their rights in the district? 1 minute for this question, and we'll start with Ms. Kuchar.
Can you repeat the question for me, please?
Yes. How will you specifically support LGBTQ plus IA students in the district and their rights?
Absolutely. Am I on? Okay. Diversity is the acceptance, the understanding, and the valuing of our differences, which is the cornerstone of innovation. So the sooner we bring everybody in to work together to create equity and inclusion. Inclusion has to do with goodwill. It has to do with, are we allowing all of our children to feel good in that spot? And that's also leads to safety and the social emotional learning part of that is the essence of making all of these people feel really welcome and part of the Widefield way.
I'm going to piggyback what off Kelly said, the Widefield way. That is an atmosphere of inclusivity. And anybody that knows me knows that I am fully 100% behind the LGBTQ community. I do not believe in discriminating against anybody because we want to do things like improve children's test scores. But before we can do that, we have to get these children ready to learn. And a part of getting children ready to learn is they got to feel accepted. They got to feel welcome in their environment. And that's one thing as a board member you can count on me to do. I will not discriminate against your children or anybody else.
And it's real simple. I said it in the beginning. We need a safe environment for our students. That means they have to feel like they're supposed to be at school and it is their place that they need to be. Anytime a student has a problem or has to go through something or make major life changes, they need the support. And so therefore the school should be the one to help them and support them. Many of them have problems at home, and they can't go home and talk to their parents. So it does become our duty as educators to help out every student, not just the students we like, because as teachers, sometimes we have those students we like, but we have to help everybody. That's why we're in public education. And it's really important to let those kids know that they have a safe place, and it is at school.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute, and we'll start off with Mr. Sexton, Mr. Walker, then Ms. Kuchar. What is your plan on attracting and retaining teachers and support staff?
So the biggest issue that I've heard talking to teachers is that they are finding it really difficult to live here. They need to make more money. They need more help in the classroom. And what I plan to do is use my grant writing skills that I learned in my graduate degree to bring excess money here to get these teachers the help they need in the classroom, to get them that money they need so they can afford to live where they work. I think that's the bare minimum any of us can ask to do. Thank you.
I think it's really important to attract those quality teachers to our district. And once again, it is a living situation at this point. There are lots of different places. Within my career of recruiting teachers, I've actually found places for them to live, found rental houses for them. I think it's important that the district helps them with things like that. Hey, this is a place where, hey, you need a roommate, putting together that sort of stuff. When we talk about keeping our teachers, yes, pay is one thing, but we also need to make sure that they feel supported in everything that they do. And what they need is to be able to go into class and feel free to teach, not have restrictions and people looking over their shoulder at them all the time about what are you teaching in the classroom. They need to be able to go in and have that educational freedom and do the right, because we all do the right things for kids. That's what teachers do. And I think that's really important.
Okay, we need to recruit and retain teachers by paying them more. But in addition to that, we need to collaborate and think of incentives outside of the box that makes Widefield more attractive than just on paper. We know that Widefield's pay is on the lower end. We know that. We live that. Okay, I have to budget my groceries, or I'm retired. But anyway, I do have some specific ideas and incentives when we get more time to talk about it on keeping teachers here with us. That's what we need, not just teachers, but we need staff, and we need to recruit and retain from our own people, which is you.
Thank you. This is an online question, and we'll start with Mr. Walker, Ms. Kuchar, and Mr. Sexton. This question is, what are some of your plans for improving special education access for students? And this will be 30 seconds.
Could you repeat it, please?
Yes. What are some of your plans for improving special education access for students?
I think when we start to talk about the needs of the student, I think we need to go back and we need to look at this idea of teachers. So if we want to expand, once again, is to find those quality teachers that are working with those students. So my idea and my plan would be to find more, which I know isn't the easiest thing in the world, but to find those special ed teachers that we can bring in so their caseload goes down, and therefore we can have more time with each and every student.
Yes.
All right, just coming out of the building, what I can tell you for sure is that with the social emotional learning component and with special ed referrals, we need to speed that process up. What I have seen is months and months go by before somebody's been evaluated. That's got to come quicker. If we need to hire more people, if we need to do something that gets that process moving faster, I really think that is the best thing we could do.
I believe one of the core functions of being a school board member is to listen to teachers, work with them, and listen, because I'm a firm believer the people that are going through the problems have the best solutions. So as your board member, that is one of my pledges. I will work with the teachers. I won't pretend to tell them what to do. I will listen to their needs and take action on that. Thank you.
This is a student question, so it's very, very important. This will be 30 seconds, and we'll start with Ms. Kuchar, Mr. Sexton, and Mr. Walker. What do you think one of the biggest issues or weaknesses in our school district is, and how could you fix that?
Okay. Number one, our children must be safe. Drop the mic. Must be safe. And I know that some decisions were made where they put an armed security guard in the building, and I think that that's wonderful. But I think that what we need to do now is perhaps put together a safety management team to walk through buildings and make a constant assessment of where we can get better on an everyday basis, on a continuous basis, to make that assessment.
Two big issues that really stick out is to be competitive with teacher salaries. And then the second is the maintenance of our buildings. I'm sure most of you know that we have some buildings that are over 60-year-old, and they really need major maintenance done. To me, their kids need to feel, obviously safe at school, like Kelly said, but they also don't need to sweat to death. They don't need to freeze to death. Those are the two of the main pressing issues that I see on top of what Ms. Kuchar has stated.
And I would have to jump on the facilities. That is definitely something that is a weakness within our district. We are an older district, and and it's amazing what we do with our buildings and how long we keep them and how long we use them. But we do have to look at that. I think that's a really important one. I also think one of our weaknesses within this district sometimes is parental involvement and getting parents to come in and help their kids with reading, and to get their kids to come in and help their kids with math. And I think that's something that I'd really like to see is to get more and more parent involvement.
Thank you. This next question will be 30 seconds, and it will go Mr. Sexton, Mr. Walker, and then Ms. Kuchar. Now, the question is, what is your view on teachers and their current amount of classroom authority and control?
Sure. Do you mind elaborating a little bit on that? Is there any more to that question?
Yeah. What is your view on teachers and their current amount of classroom control and authority?
So to me, right now, it's been a little bit since I've been in school. So I will actually have to bleed ignorance a little bit, and I have to research this a little bit more and get you an answer at a further time.
Mr. Walker.
Well, my wife goes to school every day and teaches. So when she comes home and tells me about what's going on in a classroom, I can tell you that teachers have great control within our school district. They're in charge of their classrooms. And I can tell you, I worked in 3 different buildings within this district. And I can tell you that in each one of those buildings, the most important thing was the principal always told you, it's your classroom. If you need to remove this child or you need to teach this way, do it. It's your classroom. And that's the great thing about Widefield.
We have an enormous amount of young teachers in our buildings, and they are struggling. That is a true statement. So for me, what would be paramount here is to get some instructional, non-evaluative leadership in the building that can help guide these teachers under some currently adverse conditions in many classrooms.
Thank you. So this question will be 30 seconds. We'll start off with Mr. Walker, go to Ms. Kutcher, and then Mr. Sexton last. 30 seconds for this question. What is your position on book bans and restrictions on freedom of speech and assembly within your district? Yeah, what is your position on book bans and restrictions on freedom of speech in the district?
Well, let's see. I think it's really important to know that as a parent, I should have the right to know what my student is going to read, right? Or what they are reading. But that's my right as a parent. So you shouldn't be able to tell me that they can't read that book if I want them to read that book. So book banning makes no sense because you're taking away other people's rights. You're taking away other parents' rights by taking that book away. Maybe I want my child to read that book. So I think it's really important that we have that free speech as well.
Ms. Kutcher?
Book banning. Why don't we have a Salem witch trial while we're at it? The books have been vetted by professional educators. Why do we need to ban them? If you personally have a book that you don't want your child to read, then we'll give you an opportunity to opt out of it. It's very, very simple. Thank you.
So I believe whenever we grow up, become adults, we're going to work with people who don't share our same beliefs. We're going to work with people who don't think the same way we do. And the same way with books. You're going to read books that you may not agree with, and that's okay. And I think we should challenge our children. If they read something, they don't agree with it, use critical thinking skills, differentiate why. I am not for book bans whatsoever.
Thank you. For this next question, we will give 1 minute, and it will go Ms. Kutcher, Mr. Sexton, and then Mr. Walker. The question is, what is your opinion on arming teachers in the classroom with guns? Yeah.
Absolutely not.
We can't afford to pay them a decent wage, much less, supply them with expensive guns. This is preposterous. No, I don't support that.
No support there. And it goes back to the fact of, you're right, we don't pay them enough, but then we want them to also guard and do the job of a police officer or district security. That's why we have those. Why would you arm a teacher? Because then you're asking that teacher if they're really willing to use that gun. And that's a hard question to ask a teacher.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute. We'll start off with Mr. Sexton, go to Mr. Walker, and then Ms. Kutcher. How do you feel about the need for trauma-informed practices being implemented throughout classrooms and the need for explicit character ed programs district-wide?
So that seemed like it was 2 questions.
It was one. So how do you feel about the need for trauma-informed practices being trauma-informed practices being implemented throughout classrooms and the need for explicit character ed programs district-wide? And that's obviously 1 minute.
So I think we can go. Hello. I think we can go back to this to SEL, teaching children children how to deal with their emotions, because children who don't know how to control their emotions grow up to be adults who make bad decisions. There's a gentleman who told me one time that prisons are filled with people who make bad decisions because of their emotions, who don't know how to control it. So I favor a school who teaches SEL. Thank you.
I think it's really important to do these things within classrooms to help them. Character education, huge. All of these things that we can provide to students to make them better individuals at any age is going to be the best thing we can do. That's why all the teachers got into it. When they come to school every day, they're about helping your student. So why not give them every tool we can in the toolbox and incorporate the things we can and the things that we do research on that works to help them become better individuals.
We do have children with trauma. We do. And the school district has taken measures to absolutely address that. And so we're moving forward with our social emotional learning. But when we're talking about character education, I take a pause, because what I value in good character may not be what you value in good character. So some of the inherent characteristics of a good citizen and what we value in a good citizen should be modeled at the school. I think that's valuable with regards to character education specifically.
Thank you. The next questions will go in order of Mr. Walker, Ms. Kuchar, and then Mr. Sexton. The question is, will you allow the continuing of extracurricular activities and clubs like LGBTQ plus club and the presence of nonprofits like Educating Children of Color?
Yes. I think as long as we stay within our boundaries of what our policies are, which I think Widefield has great policies on how you form clubs and how we allow students driven clubs to find those sponsors and those teachers to do those things. I think it's really important to keep these things. Clubs are very important, and they're places for kids to feel safe.
Widefield has a great reputation for diversity, equity, inclusion, and this is a perfect example. Students need something to do after school, and I think including groups like the LGBT community is absolutely paramount.
We're doing a good job after the pandemic of implementing or bringing in more clubs and more sports. It's all about creating opportunities for these kids. They want to be together. So I'm saying more clubs, more activities, more. A rivalry assembly. Yes, we've got to give them more. And we've got to ask them, what do you want? Because we've got to get them to school. And if an activity gets them to school, let's do it.
Thank you. Bless you. Bless you. This question will be 30 seconds, and we'll start with Ms. Kutcher, then Mr. Sexton, then Mr. Walker. Widefield is big on tradition. Many family generations date back to the 1950s. How do you plan to add and keep the tradition that is Widefield and bring back the pride inside?
I know you can't tell by my age, but I am tradition as well. And everything about Widefield that makes Widefield must return in full force. Full force. And by that, I mean the joy. I mean the passion. I mean our children coming first. I'm talking pay the teachers. We need morale boosters. We need invigoration. We need it all, and we need it now. Not one more minute can go by without bringing that joy back.
What I've learned about Widefield and the years that I've lived here is that we are a tight-knit community. Over the summer, our house actually almost burned down. And it was our neighbors that came to warn us after we were in bed that it was on fire. They started putting the fire out. They called the fire department. It was at that time, we weren't Democrats, we weren't Republicans, we were neighbors. And that is the Widefield way, and that's what I intend to keep it, by including all students in our community, treat them as one equally, no discrimination.
I've lived in this community for 31 years. My wife was born here. She graduated from Widefield High School. She's now completing her 30th year as a teacher at Widefield High School. You want to talk about history and community? Guys, this is the greatest place ever. So how do we add to that? We get all the people that are coming into our wonderful, wonderful little secret that we used to have, and we teach them the way we do things. And we do that through great education with great teachers that we have, and we make it just as good as it's always been.
Thank you. For this next question, it will go Alvin Sexton, Mr. Walker, and Ms. Kuchar. How do you feel about offering AP African American Studies at the high school level? We'll give 30 seconds for this.
I support offering this. I think children need to be challenged. They need to know not just a certain version of history, not just a version from the oppressors, but from the oppressed. I know a lot of people take a lot of negativity to this, but I don't think this is something we should look at as a negative idea. I think it's great that children's minds are being opened. So I do support that.
So I was one of the people involved in accepting, with Carlos Gonzalez, accepting, promoting, and wanting AP African American Studies in our building. It is decades behind when it should have been implemented. Thank you.
Well, considering my kid is in the class currently at Widefield High School, I would probably say I'm a huge supporter of it. And I am with Kelly there that this is way overdue. I would like to see AP move into some Native American things that we could teach our kids. I'm a historian. I was born teaching history from when I was in the 8th grade on. That's all I ever wanted to do. And you know what? Guess what? We need to expand our students and give them every opportunity for every different view they can get.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute. We're going to start off with Mr. Walker, Ms. Kuchar, Mr. Sexton. How do you plan to address the district's outdated facilities?
Well, I think it's really important that we continue to maintain what we have, but at some point within our future here, we do have to start looking at the possibility of new buildings. It's just something that we can't, and with our growth out east, there is no way we can survive by just keeping the status quo. I think we need to look truly at our budget and what we can do with our budget creatively to help facilities get what they need and how we can preserve and help out all of those buildings. So I do believe it's really important to talk to the people in the district that have the power of facilities and have discussions with them about what do we really need, make that list and figure out how we're going to afford it. And if we need to do some things differently, then we're going to have to figure out how to do that.
Well, we're definitely going to have to sit down as a community and make some big choices on this. We have dilapidated buildings. The football stadium is embarrassing. Children are running on grass, should be turf. But all of this costs money, and money just doesn't appear, right? So as I'm processing, what are we going to do? Where are we going to go? How are we going to find this money? I'm thinking, okay, I'm calling Oprah. I mean, I'm going big on this, right? Kevin and I are going to march up. This is in my mind. I just did this, Kevin. I'm just kind of going. We're going to march over to Amazon and say, we need some help here. I mean, I would love to see Widefield be equitable to the same facilities in the districts that surround us. Let's go to the military. Let's ask. Let's do this. Thank you.
I think first we need to prioritize what needs fixed the most, like our AC, our heating, get that addressed. The second, we need a plan on failures in our budget, because for those of you who are homeowners, you know nothing's going to last forever. Put in your budget, prepare for those big expenses. And then finally, we want to keep those running long as possible, so we need to concentrate on preventative maintenance. Again, change your air filters if you're a homeowner, you know, take care of your outside AC equipment, etc.
Thank you. For this next question, we'll go Ms. Kuchar, Mr. Sexton, and Mr. Walker. What is one thing you are really excited about doing as a District 3 board member? And we'll give 30 seconds.
I'm really excited about being able to interact and be essentially an ambassador for you in the community with the kids and you and all of the adults and all of us working together. That's the biggest thing that I'm the most excited about. But the other thing I'm excited about is singing at convocation.
So I'm really excited about expanding our trade program because like I said, I came from a low income community and a trade was able to lift me out of poverty. I'm excited to go and continue work with Widefield and Mesa Ridge, go into their shop classes, go into their CTE programs, see what they need, and pair these people with internships so they can be successful adults when they grow up.
I'm really excited to give back to the community that has been great, the school community, the community of Widefield Security. I'm looking forward to being able to proudly walk down the street and say, I'm on the school board. And there isn't every place that you can do that. But I'm really excited about giving back to those people and listening to them and listening to, hey, what is best for our kids? And listening to teachers and the community members and students. What do you need? That's what I'm excited about.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute. We'll start with Mr. Sexton, Mr. Walker, then Ms. Kuchar. How will you put aside your own political aspirations to work effectively as a school board member and not use the position to advance your own political agenda?
Yeah, so again, for those of you who know me, know that I'm very active in our community, and I recently spoke at our county commissioners meeting stating that we don't need to look for the Republican answer or the Democrat answer, look for the correct answer. And that's the platform that I'm going to take as a school board member, because honestly, what we're doing here shouldn't be partisan issues. We're all here, I truly believe 100%, all three of us want to improve the lives of our children.
There is no politics in education. You're here to educate kids. That's what it's about. That's the only thing it's about. It can't be about anything else. And the other question, part of that question is, I'm way old, I'm a retired teacher. I don't want to do anything else in politics but be on your school board. So this is, which I really don't consider to be politics, but that's what I want to do. I want to be here and help our community and hopefully get all of you to vote me in so that I can do that.
Can you read the question for me again?
The question is, how will you put aside your own political aspirations to work effectively as a school board member and not use the position to advance your own political agenda?
My children are not an agenda. My children they are our future. They are the ones, they're the reason that we're here. Their success and reaching their potential as a parent, as a teacher, that's what we want. That's what we stand for. No agendas, just children.
For this next question, we will go Mr. Walker, Ms. Kuchar, and then Mr. Sexton. We will give 30 seconds for this question. What role should the community play in supporting the education of children?
They should play a huge role because we need parents to help us educate their kids. Teachers are incredible people, but they only have them for 8 hours a day, and in some cases, depending, once you get to junior high and high school, they have them for an hour a day. We need the parents and the community support of all students. And that might be through somebody who can help with reading, somebody who can help with math. That might be a community member who's an engineer or a pilot who can come in and talk about, hey, these are the great careers you can get into. We need the community to help us.
I'd like to see and bring in all of our small business owners here at Mesa Ridge to help work with us. Okay, let's collaborate together. Let's create an environment of peace, mindfulness, that can collaborate and work together to solve problems. And we have to do that as a community. We can't do that as individuals. We have to do it together.
I really want to encourage the community to come to school board meetings, show up with input, show up with ideas, get involved with your PTA, help your kids with your homework, give feedback to the teachers. Hey, this is what my child is having trouble with. This is what he's doing well at. I think those are some things that I think everybody in here can do and will do, because all of you are here on a Wednesday night when you could be doing better things. You obviously all care about education. So that's what I ask of you coming next school board season.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute, and we'll start with Ms. Kuchar, Mr. Sexton, Mr. Walker. How will you increase the educational experience of the students in this district?
The educational experience. So right now, we know a couple of things about the kids. A, they love to be together. Okay, they love it. So we got to create avenues and opportunities for them to spend more time together on top of the academic component. Those two must go hand in hand.
So I want to create or increase the educational experience by adding some unique things to Widefield. I've seen it done across the country, such as augmented reality and virtual reality when learning. So imagine going to science class and just reading in the textbooks about the solar system, but imagine going through virtual reality and exploring the solar system. Did anybody here watch a Magic School Bus? I love the Magic School Bus, and I always thought that, this is just a cartoon, it's not real. But no, this is absolutely real. We can absolutely do this. We can have the next Miss Frizzle in our class. So that's just one of the couple things that I'd like to see.
Opportunities. What opportunities can we give them? What opportunities can we go out and find for them? Whether that be the possibility of I'm in PLTW Medical Sciences and I can come out with a CNA license when I graduate from high school. What's to say, we're doing great things at the mill with giving kids opportunity. Let's expand that. Let's expand on what we're doing out there, but let's also expand on our classrooms as well at the high school with medical sciences and engineering and computer sciences. Let's give them more opportunities. I think one of the greatest things ever is that idea of let them experience and go to a college. Every junior should go and experience a college campus, whether they're going to go to school or not, because it's okay if they don't. But let them go to UCCS or CC and just visit a college campus so they know what to expect.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute. We'll start with Mr. Sexton, Mr. Walker, then Mrs. Kuchar. Parents and teachers should not be adversaries. How will you work to support parent and teacher partnerships?
I'm a big proponent of the democratic process, so as a school board member, I will take initiative to get the community involved. I'll take initiative, say, hey, come to this school board meeting. Hey, come to the basketball game, come to the football game. Let's come together. Because like we stated before, Widefield is a tight-knit community, and that's what I plan to keep it as.
Goes back to that parent involvement. How do teachers and parents, we need to have discussions. And Ms. Kuchar could tell you this as well. I mean, I wasn't in a classroom. I haven't been in a classroom for a year because I did some long-term subbing last year. But I had to talk to parents, and I had to talk to them and say, hey, this is what's going on. This is, I'm trying to help your kid do this. Can you help me at home? Can you do those things? I think it's communication. As long as we can sit down and have civil conversations with parents and teachers, both ways, and have those conversations, I think you can build that partnership. It also goes back to the fact of, if you need something and we want to build this community thing, bring them in. Bring them into your school. Invite them in. Have them come in to see this great thing you're doing, not just that assembly you're having for your students, but bring them in for other things of, hey, we're doing this cool thing. Come watch this.
We wouldn't have any children if we didn't have parents, but we don't have time to explain how that happens today. But I will tell you that I know a lot of parents, and they love being involved. They love getting involved. They love being there. And I want to continue this after pandemic sort of school's not important, kind of optional, not, sort of an iffy thing. We've got to give our schools more importance. We have to prioritize, and we're going to need the parents to get on that train with us. And I know they will, with the right people at the top cheering them on. Thank you.
Thank you. This is an online question. It will be 1 minute, and it is, what do you see as the role for early education now that there is universal pre-K? And the order is Mr. Walker, Ms. Kuchar, and then Mr. Sexton.
It's a pivotal part of our educational process. Early education, we all know, statistically, everything else, because we can all read about that stuff, is the fact that the sooner we can get children to read, the better off we will be. Well, early education plays a huge role in that. But kind of goes back to that last question of how do we get the parents' involvement with that as well and let the parents know how important it is. Not just the fact of, hey, sometimes I want to send you off to school and they can teach you. We need their help as well. But we need to get that involvement within the early education. We also need to concentrate truly, I truly believe we need to look at our reading and math at those levels and start young. I think it's really important. I mean, some people don't get math. I understand that. I have a child at home that doesn't get math. But as long as we're working with them when they're young, maybe we'll continue to build those skills by the time they get older.
Okay, the whole point of going to school before kindergarten, which is the Head Start, it's part of the content, it's implied, is to reduce that gap. So then we have our children coming in, they're all coming into kindergarten, hopefully, at about the same level, because I know that we have state standards that we use. But I do know that the pre-K is something that's very important to many parents, and I would like to continue to offer it for sure, and use it as a way to build good rapport with maybe our marginalized students that we're struggling, and that's maybe where we can start with them as far as trying to play catch up later.
I support universal pre-K. One thing that I want to really stress and talk about is the importance of reading. So if a child cannot read by the time they're in 3rd grade, that has a significant impact on their other studies going in. I think universal pre-K is going to help set these foundations, not just for reading, but arithmetic, writing, etc. So I fully support that.
Thank you. This question is 1 minute. We'll start with Ms. Kuchar, Mr. Sexton, Mr. Walker. That'll be the order. How, as a board, would you best support implementation of educational equity? I'll repeat the question again because I saw some looks. As a board member, how would you best support implementation of educational equity?
Okay, equity is about having access and providing opportunities for advancement. So one of the ways we can do that is with our AVID program, with our AP programs. Very often in the high school, I would tell somebody that wouldn't traditionally take an AP class, let's do it. You can do it. Let's get in there. I'll help you. Absolutely. That's what we need to do, is we need to encourage the equitability by providing access and opportunity.
So I'm all about in education realizing the fact that not every child needs the exact same educational opportunities to get by. Some need more, some need less. And that is something that teachers saw in me. I needed a lot more than other students in the classroom, and they just happened to give it to me. So I'm going to take that and give it back to our community by doing what's equitable.
It is that opportunity part. What opportunities can we give them by expanding the classes we offer, by not being so traditional in I have to have these 5 English classes to graduate, looking at different ways in which we could possibly provide them with that college readiness and that career readiness as well. So I think it's really important to go out with that. One of the greatest things about Widefield School District and its AP programs is we don't have gatekeepers. The fact that any kid who wants to take that class can take that class. And that's one of the best things we do, because we do have kids who we have to challenge, hey, you can do it, and it moves them forward. And that is one of the greatest things we can continue to do, is give them those opportunities.
Thank you. This next question will be 1 minute, and the order will go Mr. Walker, then Mr. Sexton, and then Ms. Kuchar. The question is from a young student in the audience: how are kids supposed to be together more if we have separate races? Recesses. I'll repeat the question real quick.
Wow. I just want to say that was going to go in a way different direction. If we're just talking about recess, I'll be honest with you. I don't think everybody could have the same recess, but I know we want them to be together, so there's got to be a way to work through that. So for that young student, first thing is you really need to enjoy the fact and aren't at home looking at a computer screen. The second part of that is, hey, maybe we could work in some new recesses so that we could all be together. I don't know, something we could always look at.
So one thing that I would add to this is to get children to be together more is more after-school programs. That's something that I feel that we really lack in the community. We have some, but I think we could always improve and do better, and that's just one way we could do it.
I'd like to see additional choices in class choices. Children want to have fun, and this is the truth. Discipline is not the enemy of enthusiasm. So you can have discipline and have lots of fun at the same time. But what we find fun, guys, and what those little guys or those big guys find fun may be very different. So let's bring that good vibe for them together by creating some interesting curriculum for them that follows state standards, of course. But what we really need is these kids to come to school. We need you to come to school. So maybe if school was more fun, they would come.
Thank you. For this next question, we will go Ms. Kuchar, then Mr. Walker, and then Mr. Sexton. The question is, how do you support expanding career pathways for non-traditional careers for those that do not require a degree? And 1 minute.
Well, it's not an excuse me. My husband taught shop at Mesa Ridge for several years before he moved up to social studies. And he got me involved in what he does, and I thought, oh my gosh, what an amazing opportunity here. Welding. During the pandemic, he welded in our garage, blew every circuit in our entire house. But we did it because it was awesome and it was amazing and it drew kids in. And not every kid wants a traditional education. So some of those CTE classes and opportunities and the mill and a variety of the other awesome opportunities that we provide here at Widefield will continue to enhance that and bring that non-traditional student in, because we want them to be there too. Shop, if you ask my husband, shop is fun too.
So I believe it's the mechanics, the electricians, the plumbers. Those are the people that make this country go round and round. And whenever you're applying for a job, for those of you who ever had one, employers want what skills do you have to bring to the table. And what I would like to do is make sure our students are graduating with the skills that they need to go into the workforce. Not just automotive, electrician, plumbing. Let's worry about what if you're a beautician, you want to go into the beauty industry. We need to keep in mind all varieties of aspects. Thank you.
I was lucky enough to be the college and career counselor at Widefield High School, and I got to talk to kids all the time about what do you want to do. And they would come into my office and they would look at me and they said, Mr. Walker, I don't know what I want to do. And I said, well, do you want to go to college? Well, not really. Well, then let's figure out what you want to do. And I think it's really important that we continue to expand, because I've said it several times, expand on the programs we have, not only at the mill, but also within our specialty PLTW classes as well. I think it's really important to give those kids an opportunity to do something for those kids that, like Kelly said, if they're excited to come to school, then they're going to come to school. And they're going to be there so that we can actually educate them. And it may not be traditional. I really think we ought to look at some pathways of non-traditional students and how we can get them to take the classes that interest them and not have to take everything.
Thank you. This question will be 1 minute, and it'll go Mr. Sexton, Mr. Walker, then Ms. Kutcher. What do you think about expanding music and art programming in elementary schools, and how would you approach it?
This is something that a lot of people overlook, music class, but I can't tell you how many times throughout my life music has really comforted me. made me feel happy during those sad times, or taking a walk into your local gallery and seeing the beautiful artwork. If anybody's ever taken a chance to walk down Colorado Springs, you can see all the beautiful murals. I fully support this, expanding it to elementary school and obviously middle and high school. I think it's a valuable asset to the community.
I think it's really important, and we are the best district at supporting the arts and music. We have done that forever. I mean, you can go back to when some of you people were in high school here in this district. You had that. We support that. So as we look at expanding, we do have those schools, those elementary schools, that are very much programmed to that. Because I believe Widefield Elementary is now the music school, correct? And so we do that within our schools. And it's really important to continue to support that and expand and figure out a way to do that. Because I know the idea is, how are we going to do that? Well, once again, goes back to how are we looking at how we're spending our money and how can we better what we're offering.
Music and art is as important to some students as sports is to others. In some students, both are very important. Music and art accentuates the right side or the right brain of a student. It stimulates the right side of the brain, as opposed to academic endeavors like math, the left side. So I'm saying if we're educating the whole student, let's educate both sides of the brain. Let's do it.
Thank you. And then for the final question, which will be 1 minute, we will go Mr. Walker, Mr. Sexton, and then Ms. Kuchar. The question is, how will you support students in all sports? For example, girls in wrestling and boys in volleyball, etc.
I was the wrestling coach. And I can tell you that if you want to talk about support, I'm a huge proponent for female athletes and female sports. They are an incredible thing. And I can tell you that if you could go back and we continue expand what sports we can offer, not only on the club level, but also within the CHASA level, helping get more and more kids involved. It's about involvement. And when you talk about support, I can't remember the last time I missed a home wrestling match at Widefield High School. Haven't been to a volleyball game though. Haven't seen a men's volleyball game yet. But I'm telling you, it's important to figure out how to expand sports as well, so that we can actually offer more opportunities for our students.
I think sports is a great way for people to relieve their stress. And for some kids, it's a way out of whatever they're going through. So when I was younger, my sport was basketball. I wasn't very good. I'm 5'8", white, and not very fast. So unfortunately, but it was my outlet. So when it comes to expanding sports programs here in Widefield, I will take any and all suggestions, because there's some sports people may not be thinking about. Maybe people want to play some polo here. Does anybody got any horses? I don't, but thank you.
It just crossed my mind that water polo, right, with the pool here. I like Mark, and well, I do like Mark, but like Mark, I think that sports and sporting events really are a linchpin for this community. It's what keeps us together. The rivalry is nice. It's not awful, it's nice. And I guess as far as women in sports, well, I am a woman, and I enjoyed watching the females wrestle this year. So we have to continue to create opportunities for both men and women. and then find the money, because one of the things we don't want to do, because our district doesn't charge the children to be in athletics, and I absolutely am adamant that we continue to not charge them if we could all maintain that.
Thank you. So we will give 1 minute for candidate closings. We're going to go in reverse order of the introduction. So it'll be Mr. Walker, Mr. Sexton, and then Mrs. Kutcher to close us out.
First of all, I'd like to thank you all for coming tonight and taking the time out of your busy schedules. I would like to say that you can see that there's not a lot of difference between us. We all have some different ideas of where we're going. And yes, these 3 people sitting here would be great people to be on your school board. And I hope that you guys understand that we're here for your kids. I'm running for school board to be here for the community's kids, and technically my own. And I think it's really important that we remember the fact that this is Widefield, and this is the best school district in the state.
Thank you so much for coming. And coming into this, in this race, I really didn't know what to expect. I really expected people to be mean to each other. I didn't expect for everybody to get along so good. So this really eases my mind that I really do hope to be a member of your school board. But if it just so happens you don't pick me, you pick these 2, I think we're in great hands. But again, I would love to continue my vision for Widefield, expanding our trade programs, bringing us money, and just being a sensible voice on the board. Thank you all so much.
Thank you for being here. If you are looking for a high, I got to finish that. If you're looking for a high, positive energy, rational person to be on the school board that is open-minded and willing to work with all of you, I am definitely a choice for you. I will say that coming out of the building very recently gives me an edge because I've seen what's going on. I see how the children feel. The parents talk to me. I know what's happening with you as educators. I know what's happening with the children. So let's pick ourselves up and create something or continue with something that's as positive as Widefield. One of the things I will leave you with is that I do have yard signs in the back of my vehicle, so anybody that would like one can meet me in the parking lot afterwards. Woo!
All right, you can go ahead and give them a round of applause, please. They did great. Thank you. Thank you, candidates, right? Thank you to your timekeeper in front. She kept you on point. So again, a lot of great questions tonight. Thank you, audience. Wow, you guys did truly amazing. Thank you to our candidates, really on the hot seat. So very nice job as well. Our moderators, Mike Williams with Citizens Project, and of course, Keaton Morrison. Thank you. You did it. And of course, those co-sponsors that I mentioned earlier, and those of you in attendance and attending online, thank you for being registered voters. Thank you for being engaged. We so appreciate you. Thank you for being here on a Wednesday night. Have a great night. Oh, I'm sorry, 2 things I forgot. Candidates, stay for a picture. League members, if you're a league member, I want you and moderators up here for a great group picture. If your question did not get answered, I think there were a few that we might not have, you can send an email to lwvppr@gmail.com. But if you're still here, ask the candidates yourselves for me. They'll be here for a few minutes. But again, thank you for coming. Group picture, please. Appreciate your time tonight. Have a great night.
My son is Sean Walker.